All right, we have a new mental health article titled The Loneliest Generation Inside the Gen Z Mental Health Crisis by Erica Pandey. Let us begin. Gen Z is America's most diverse cohort yet, but they're united by deep anxieties about the world around them. Why it matters. A conclusion of political, economic, and social trends has minted a generation in which huge numbers of people struggle to cope with the present and feel even worse about the future. By the numbers, Gen Z, people roughly between the ages of 12 and 27, reports the poorest mental health of any generation, according to a recent Gallup and Walton Family Foundation report. Just 44% of Gen Zers say they feel prepared for the future. The big picture. They dodge familiar teen pitfalls with lower teen pregnancy rates and lower rates of alcohol use. Instead, they're grappling with the alarming rates of loneliness, depression, and suicidal thoughts. So let's zoom in. Partly by choice and partly out of necessity during the pandemic, Gen Z socializes online rather than in person, far more than previous generations. That's not healthy, experts say. Spending time with people releases certain chemicals in the brain and boosts our mood. Those things that don't happen in the same way when you're texting, said Bonnie Nagel, a behavioral neuroscientist at Oregon Health and Science University. And those types of hormones are really important for well-being. COVID isolation hit Gen Z especially hard. It was a complete lack of social connectedness during such a formative time, Nagel said. This is the generation that grew up with the internet, and what I'm seeing is a lot of comparison, said Alyssa Mankeo, a therapist in Los Angeles with the Gen Z client base. She said her clients talk about comparing everything about their physical appearances to their career paths with their peers and influencers online. There are a lot of feelings of inadequacy. The state of the world also fuels Gen Z's pessimism. An ongoing study at Montclair State University finds that Gen Zers perceive the world as more dangerous than their older counterparts. They're more likely to feel anxiety about extreme weather. Active shooter drills became the norm while they were in school. They're entering the workforce loaded with student debt while the cost of housing and other basic needs continue to soar. And AI poses an existential threat to jobs and careers they've only just begun. Erica Basso, a therapist with clients across California, said, across the board, my Gen Z clients are overwhelmed with the uncertainty around unemployment and affordable living. Unfortunately, most have to rely on their parents for much longer than previous generations and still feel the pressure to hit major milestones like having kids or owning a home by their age, which is simply not realistic for many of my clients' situations. Reality check. Despite their anxieties, there are several reasons to be optimistic about this generation. They are passionate activists. 70% of Gen Zers around the world say they're involved in a social or political cause, per Edelman. And social media has given them new platforms to speak out. Gen Z's racial and ethnic diversity in the U.S., the generation is just 52% white, will bring new perspectives to business, pop culture, and politics. They're conscious of their emotions and have less difficulty expressing their emotions than past generations. They're less repressed overall, which is progress, Basso said. All of my Gen Z clients amaze me with their intelligence, their tolerance, and their ability to stay true to their values, Basso said. These characteristics combined can activate great change in the world. And that right there is the end of the article. So for an opinion piece, I think it ended very well. And despite what the title says, there is, in my opinion, hope for Gen Z. It seems that even though they are quote unquote called the loneliest generation, they have shown progress when it comes to emotional intelligence versus any other previous generation. And they're very well in touch with their emotions and speaking up for themselves. So it's not doom and gloom like everybody makes it out to be. And this is a special time in history. No other time in history has there ever been where everyone's able to connect with each other with the internet. And this generation is essentially the first generation to deal with so much information being revealed in the world. And it's really actually kind of amazing when you look at how they're handling this. So I think the whole idea to call and term Gen Z as the loneliest generation is actually a knock, in my opinion. If you're part of Gen Z, I think you should probably try to figure out what to call yourself other than the loneliest generation. Maybe definitely the anxiety-filled generation, but that's not bad. This generation is way more aware than any other generation. It's really hard to trick and lie to this generation because they will fact check what you're talking about. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I do know some people have low attention spans, but that's because they're very keen on what information they want to be given to them. And that's just my opinion on that. That's not the article. That's my opinion piece. So if you guys want more like this, go on my YouTube page for mental health, Smitty'Wit martial artist. That's the YouTube page. And go to my playlist and you'll see more videos like this. I'll catch you guys on the next one.